And we are back. Hello, everyone. Talk to Elf now. And here is the Aetheryte Plaza. So far, so good. And there isn't much farther to go. From here, we just need to cross to the other side of the hall and then past the larger two doorways, and the High Crucible lies beyond. I suspect the others have already collected the warding scales. Come, let us join them. Chocobo's doing a heist? I'll join you for a heist, Chocobo. Jalzama. Okay, hang on. We're gonna go past that for a moment. So I don't think there's a reason to go in here otherwise, so let's go get this Aetheryte and then we'll come back out and meet with them. Hi, Mini Cat. Okay. We're last, of course, but at least we found the place.
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires, just as we did with the Tower of Zot.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoroid's base of operations. Of course, we would need to consult with various Alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties.
I can head eastward. Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then. Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Please, I must speak with you.
Nidana, you're awake.
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the tower's corruption. It seems I've been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to come.
As you said, Nidana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta.
And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnair from an awful fate.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven efficacy. Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
The talisman? Is this true? Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it.
Look at that! Its color is completely changed.
What do you have there? How unusual. I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
As foreign scholars often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach, a gift bestowed from on high or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate. The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As a veteran of the battlefield, surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities. That is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practical application lends itself poorly to formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation. I am sorry.
Nonsense! You have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Shall we depart for Sharlayan then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the Annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
So, what she was just describing, Akasha, is them taking a game mechanic, limit breaks that you use to do massive damage, revive a whole party, reduce damage by like 80% or something. I don't remember the amount of the tank limit break, but it takes all of that stuff that occurs in game and gives it an actual application in the world on why it happens, which is super cool. I actually really like that they did that. Why am I running now when I could just teleport? There we go. Hi, 10 gauge. Hey, Kyle. It's good to be back, and with the fruit of our labors safely in storage. For now, we have to wait for the others to return from their respective meetings with the Alliance leaders. As Thancred suggested, you should get some rest in the meantime. Fuck you. Welcome back, Miro. Cryo surprised me of your recent accomplishments. What an amazing feat to eliminate a tower and pave the way to the deal with the rest. While it isn't much, I've changed your sheets and plumped your pillow. After all, there's nothing like collapsing in a nice clean bed after completing a major milestone, be it penning a thesis or defeating a deiform entities. So, would you like to take a look at your new and improved lodgings now? Yeah, sure. You were just making an ether joke. That may be. But I was explaining the mechanic and how they took something in-game and turned it into this, which is super cool. It's lore related. And look, the flower's not yellow anymore.
Take heart and protect them well.
Good, you're here. You haven't eaten yet, have you? We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well. But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Sharlayan cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart.
What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Sharlayan feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Cryle, I hear you've recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
Heidelin instructed you to carry that flower, yes? 'Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Radzat-Han?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt, the relief of a people with renewed hope.
Indeed, and in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day. Hey, that's mine.
To the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the Forbidden Archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion. They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Oh!
Are we pushing on till dawn? Shall we call it a night? You do know that these are my quarters. Gotta say that.
Why else did you think we were here? Surrender to thy fate, O champion.
Oh, it's green now.
Ah! Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that. I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. All else is equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke. But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow until the void yawned once more, and then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn, burn, let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken, for I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth, much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
On Wings of Hope. That's the first leg of our journey complete, guys. We get a title to it for it too. Magus Resistor. Hey, Kryl, what are you doing over here? Oh, they're gonna give me a weapon. 525. Is that better than what I got? It's not. It's close though. Sound the bell. School's in. Okay, there you are. Oh, there you are. Feeling refreshed, I hope? I was about to make my way to the studium as it happens. I wanted to try and speak with the scholar Montchen and thank him for coming to our rescue in the Vastra. As it turns out, he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find we'd already departed for Thabner. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew the cud with his former students. Since we are still waiting for Stoll and the others, I thought now would be the perfect time to pay him a visit. Care to join me? Then it's settled. The twins will be coming too. Assuming Alphino can tear himself away from his new toys, I'll let you rally the troops while I go on ahead to the phenomenon. Considering my recent impropriety, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the studium for a time. That might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long. Wings of Hope sounds like a commercial for feminine products. I don't know about that. Heading out for a stroll? The scholar himself was here. In that case, what are we waiting for? I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety precedes us. Alphino, of all people, worrying over his reputation, and at our alma mater, no less. Well, wonders never cease. You'll understand soon enough. Off we go. We're going to school, guys. Engage, do you ever go back to your old high school and just hang out there? Like a fucking weirdo, just walk the halls? I could show you one of the high schools I went to. It's closed now, and people have made like videos of them walking through its destroyed hallways. Here it is, Phenomenon. Well, I expect you made note of it before. One can hardly miss it. This is the first time you've been here on official business, correct? While most of the space is taken up by expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magics, and a host of administrative offices and so forth. At the center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of aetherological phenomena, hence the name. Though the ether being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every conceivable facet of life in the universe itself. And then, in the 432nd year of the 6th Astral Era, Phenomenon was decreed complete, and the studium officially opened as a place of learning. With a long and storied history, it is without question the world's leading authority on etherology, the arcane, the occult, astronomy, and countless other fields, standing proud as Sharlayan's foremost educational institute. You always did enjoy giving the grand tour to new students. Indeed, I've long since lost how many times he has recited that same foolish speech, such as his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then, youngest to enter the studium, graduating with the highest honors in magical arts and aetherology, undisputed champion of the debating chamber. Hold on, you both joined the studium at the same age, yes? And from where I stand, you're equally prodigious scholars. Nice of you to say, but Alphino actually entered half a year before me, nor did I do well enough to graduate with honors. And I am certainly not the studio's most notorious master debater. Oh they fucking knew what they were doing with that. In all respects, have I ever been in his shadow? If nothing else, just remember that this is where the legend of Alphino Leveilleur began. We should expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully, we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were at the last stand. I know better than anyone the adoration the student body had for Alphino, and with a bit of luck, it might work to our advantage. Well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Scholar Mutshin. Other faculty tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he's fond of wandering wheresoever the whim's taken. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen him. 3.5k driving, straight line is about 2.9k. Gotcha. You know, one of the 3 high schools I went to, it was closed down. They opened up a new one and gave it the same name, but it ended up being well, people think it's haunted and they like to walk through it. I don't know if there's any of the haunted videos on YouTube, but there's videos of people just walking through the ruins. That was Alpha Olivia, wasn't it? The Alpha Olivia? And he's with his sister and Master Baldesion's granddaughter. This can only mean one thing. An event of epic shattering proportions is fast approaching. Spread the word. Oh, sorry, you said you were looking for the skull, I guess? Knowing him, he could be anywhere, but Miss Aliapo would have a better idea. That person's name is Bert Swinda. Miss Aliapo. Is she in here? What's she doing here? I think it's in this one. Actually, I think this leads to the same area. Yep. Aliapo is a popular character, last name, even in FF11. There were myths with the last name Aliapo. Are you lost? Wandering off the street, perhaps? Wait, don't tell me. You're a trainee gleaner, fresh off the guild ship. I'm right, aren't I? Oh, how silly of me. An orientation is in order. Allow me to bid you warm welcome to the Searcher's Meet. Let me start with a question. What is the most important thing you'll find in the studio? That's right, books! And what's the second most important? Why, that's simple. Everything else! That's what we do here at Searcher's Meet. Whenever the students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or materials, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the gleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. Eye of Paisa this, tongue of Gigantoad that. It's enough to make your hair stand on end, which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish, this being a school of magic and all. As our newest gleaner, you'll have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding. The only thing I'm interested in gleaning is information on the Skolak's whereabouts. I've tracked down many miscellaneous nicknames in my time, but I'm no gleaner. So what you're telling me is you're not a gleaner? Yes, that's exactly what you said, isn't it? And you're looking for a Skolak. I'm afraid we don't have any of those in stock, but I can... Oh, you mean him! He was here, but now he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived, though. He said he was on his way to Maker's Mead. Go back the way you came in, and you'll see it on the opposite side of the entrance. It's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curios. Not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. If you lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. Ha! In the time it's taken me to tell you all this, the Skolak has probably already left. Best of luck finding him. I have a feeling you'll need it. You don't think it's likely you ever go back to your high school except to use the pool during public? See, I went to 3 different high schools and not a single one had a pool. That was just not a thing. In fact, short of the big cities, I can't think of an area that, like a high school that had a pool in any of the cities I've lived in. Yes, the Skolak was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my current research project. Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor, perhaps to one of the auditoriums? I'm thinking maybe West Ferristed? You know, it's weird for high schools to have pools. I know there's some here in Canada that do, but I honestly can't think of any I've known to actually have one. Monteshan.
Ah, I remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that Inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the Annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat. We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Corporeal ether.
Yes, very good. This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it. Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The seventh umbral calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace?
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet. I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, This privilege is extended to you as well, my friend. Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
You've been granted the run of the phenomenon. If you're a game, Ki Alipo would put your artistry to good use. This is for crafting and gatherers. So, if that's something you like, this is content for them. That said, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and then we got more FF14 for you. Don't go anywhere.